Hello, today we're going to be doing a boolean group warm-up, learning how to make a boolean group. So we're going to start off according to the instructions on Blackboard by making a cylinder. Alright, you can see this cylinder through its attributes. It has its name. It's automatically going to be neutral. Alright, we need to, in order to make a boolean group, you need to group a positive with a negative. This is neutral right now, so to change this to positive, you press the P button. Let's double check on its attributes. Yep, it is now positive. I like that. I am now going to duplicate this cylinder. Press Control D, edit, duplicate, Control D, right? I'm going to make it thinner than the original, so kind of size it down a little bit in all directions, and I'm also going to make sure that it overlaps. This negative needs to overlap the visible positive areas in order for us to see that cut out. It'll make sense in a second. So as you can see here, alright, if I render this right now, yes, it's overlapping. If it wasn't overlapping, you would still create a boolean group, but it would just be hollow and you wouldn't be able to see the whole. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press N, yes, N to make it negative, and you can see that those dots are now showing up. Those dots make you understand or show you that this is a negative. Now it doesn't actually react to the positive until you group these together. That is the final action to make a boolean group. Now check out the preview over here, and yes, you can see that it did make this into a boolean group. I'm going to zoom in a bit so I can see this a little bit better, and I'm going to rotate my camera down slightly. I'm in the directions chair, and yes, now I can double check and see that this did indeed make a boolean group. And because that was going beyond there, it made it sure that it did cut it out. I'm going to show you again. This is cylinder 8, I believe. This is the negative. If I bring this down, see, I selected it from the selection menu. You can see that it did not cut it out. Right? So you do need to make sure that you overlap it to have that boolean group make a hollow cutout that is visible. And that's the key here, is that we actually see it. Next thing we're going to do is I'm going to actually create another cylinder. This is the second part. I could add another negative cylinder right across there, but I want to show you another method. I'm going to make another cylinder. It's going to be neutral. I'm going to make it smaller. I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to rotate it holding shift so that I make sure that it is actually on the right axis. It's rotating at 90 and everything else. 90, 45. Now this neutral I am going to change to negative, and I'm going to group it with this boolean group, right? That should do its job, but it doesn't. If you take a look, it is grouped, but it doesn't react the way it's supposed to, and that's because when you have this going on, I'm going to ungroup it. This boolean group, if you look at its attributes, it's neutral. So we need to actually make the boolean group itself. Yes, it is grouped a positive and a negative, but the group itself, those two objects together, are neutral. The group is neutral. So I'm going to change that group, and I've selected that group. I'm going to press P. Now that group should be positive. Now when I group the group with the other negative cylinder, and that should actually work. Now you see that it has actually cut a hole in there. It wasn't working before because I didn't make the group positive. Alright, be aware of those pitfalls. It's kind of a technical thing, but you now understand that you can actually make an entire group positive or negative and cut it out of something else. Good luck. Turn in the BMP. Make sure you save this correctly. Save as to your files, last name, first initial, boolean group warmup as a BR6. And once you save it and it's rendered, it will also do what? Yes, it will save the BMP file along with it. Here is my folder. I'm taking a look, and the BMP file, that's my mask. Here's the boolean group warmup. It did save that correctly. Copy and paste this to the turn-in folder.